In 1600, your pharmacist's best-selling medicine was a dead human being, ground to powder, sold by the ounce. Shelved right between the ginger and the saffron, the King of France carried a pouch of it everywhere he went in case he fell off his horse. And when Egypt ran out of ancient mummies, dealers baked fresh bodies in ovens until they looked old enough to sell. Europe ate people for 500 years, on doctors' orders. And the strange part isn't that it happened. The strange part is that nobody, not the kings, not the doctors, not your own great-great-grandparents, ever thought they were cannibals. Stranger still, the whole thing started with a typo, and a real pharmaceutical company was still selling it in 1908. I'll prove both. The typo first. Around the year 1000, the Persian physician Avicenna wrote the most influential medical textbook on earth. In it, he praised a black mineral tar called mumia. Tar, from the ground. You rubbed it on bruises. Then the book got translated into Latin, and somewhere in the chain, a scholar looked at the black resin crusted on Egyptian mummies and decided that must be the stuff. So mumia stopped meaning tar and started meaning Egyptian. One slippery word, and grave robbery became pharmacy stock. Now I've made some ugly paperwork errors in my day. The county once declared me my own widow. But I have never misfiled an entire species into the food chain. By the 1500s, it was industrial. One English merchant, John Sanderson, climbed down into a burial pit outside Cairo and shipped 600 pounds of mummy home to London. 600 pounds. That is not medicine. That is freight. And your friendly apothecary would sell it for nearly anything. Epilepsy, bruising, coughs, plague, headache, mummy, fell off your horse, mummy. Why did anyone believe this? Because it was wrong the smart way. Medicine held that flesh soaked up a vital spirit, and that a sudden death left charge in the battery. Eat the flesh, absorb the spirit. The historian Louise Noble boils the whole logic down to 3 words. Like cures like. Skull for the head, blood for the blood. It's coherent. It's completely wrong. And wrong but coherent is the most dangerous drug in this entire story. Now the twist and noir, and while I set it up, do me a kindness and hit like and subscribe. Costs you nothing, and nobody has to get dug up. In 1564, a French royal physician named Guy de la Fontaine inspected a dealer's stock in Alexandria. 40 mummies, ready for export. He asked where they came from. The dealer laughed and said he made them himself. Executed criminals. The unclaimed poor. Gutted, tarred, oven-dried, wrapped, aged, shipped. So Europe mostly wasn't eating ancient pharaohs at all. It was eating its own recently dead. Cannibalism with extra steps and a shipping fee. Then it got worse on purpose. Followers of Paracelsus decided fresh worked better than ancient. One published recipe called for the body of a red-haired man about 24 years old, dead by violence. That is not a campfire story. That is a printed medical text, and royalty stayed loyal to the end. Charles II of England drank distilled human skull. They called it the King's Drops, right up to his deathbed in 1685. It did not save him. You will be shocked to learn that at no point in this story does eating a person save anyone. A few doctors did call nonsense. Ambroise Paré, surgeon to 4 French kings, said he had prescribed mummy 100 times and watched it work exactly never. Nobody listened. The trade was too good. It outlived Shakespeare. It outlived Newton. Painters were still buying a pigment called mummy brown in the 1880s. And when the painter Edward Burne-Jones learned what was actually in the tube, he buried it in his garden. A small funeral for a paint tube, witnessed by young Rudyard Kipling, and the pharmaceutical company Merck was still listing genuine Egyptian mummy in its catalog in 1908. There were people who bought pharmacy mummy as children and lived long enough to watch the moon landing. So don't get comfortable. The engine that ran this trade was never stupidity. It was desperation, authority, and the promise of soaking up somebody else's vitality, and all 3 are still in stock. In 2019, the FDA had to warn clinics to stop selling young donors blood plasma as an anti-aging treatment. $8,000 a liter. Different century. Same hunger. Nobody in this story thought they were a cannibal. They thought they were a patient, following the best advice available exactly like you at the pharmacy counter. So tonight, when you swallow a pill without reading the label, enjoy the century you live in. Because for 500 years, the honest answer to the question of what's in this was somebody.